Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Philippines tallied an additional 21,800 new COVID-19 cases today, falling within Octa Research's earlier projections. More than half of these new cases came from Metro Manila. Active cases are now at 77,300, while the total caseload has risen to 2.91 million. The DOH reports that a majority of the active cases are mild. 129 people died of the virus overnight, pushing the death toll to 51,800. Of the 129 deaths, only 8 occurred in January, while the rest are backlogs. Total recoveries are at 2.78 million after 970 new survivors in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 40% out of the 70,000 tests conducted, a new record high for the country. What this means is that 4 out of every 10 individuals tested for COVID-19 returned positive test results. And as more countries battle with an Omicron-led surge, the World Health Organization is reminding everyone that this variant is anything but mild. The WHO says that the Omicron variant may be less severe than Delta, but it should not be dismissed as being just mild. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said an Omicron-led surge may still overwhelm hospitals globally. Ghebreyesus added that this new variant can still lead to hospitalizations and deaths, especially among the unvaccinated.
While Omicron does appear to be less severe compared to Delta, especially in those vaccinated, it does not mean it should be categorized as mild. In fact, the tsunami of cases is so huge and quick that it is overwhelming health systems around the world.
The Omicron COVID variant has also posed challenges to Hong Kong's COVID-0 approach. University of Hong Kong Chair of Epidemiology Ben Cowling discusses what these challenges are in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
I think we're still in the very early days of this outbreak. It's unclear how many unlinked cases there might be, how many undetected cases there might be in the community right now. But what we've seen in other parts of the world, once Omicron starts going, it builds up speed very, very fast. And I think that's the concern right now, that although the numbers seem very low, it might not be long until the numbers are much larger. I think we've put a lot of eggs in the basket of zero COVID, really hoping that it's going to work, that we're going to have a minimum number of cases. And maybe we haven't thought so much about Plan B, which is relying on vaccines to mitigate a larger epidemic. And now I think we really do need to look at that as an urgent priority, particularly in elderly in Hong Kong, where only about 20% of them have been vaccinated until now with any doses. And so that would be the top priority now, I think. In terms of public health measures might be strengthened, what stringent measures might be brought in to get transmission under control in the community, get the numbers back to zero, and then domestically we could have a relaxation. But in the longer term, of course, there's going to be questions about the sustainability of the zero COVID approach. If this kind of thing happens again and again, it's going to be very disruptive.
And back here at home, flights at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport have been trimmed down to 14 per hour from 40 flights back before the pandemic started. At least 48 domestic flights of Cebu Pacific have been canceled after some of their staff contracted the coronavirus. The airline says more cancellations are expected, but that they will inform the public immediately.
The operational challenges continue. Remember, we just came from Odette, diba? When we had to cancel many flights Now, ito, kagabi, I checked, 200 flights are canceled and more than 22,000 passengers are affected because of what's happening with the recent rise in cases. But we are working nonstop to minimize the impact on passengers and crew.
Meanwhile, AirAsia's flights until January 15 will go as scheduled unless LGUs prohibit their arrivals. The airline also advises the public to be ready to comply with stricter travel requirements.
AirAsia po, lahat po ng published flights natin simula January 1 hanggang January 15 ay will proceed as scheduled. Yun nga lang po, kinakailangan din natin mag-abide dun sa mga LGU restrictions na ipinatutupad din dun sa mga destination natin.
And in the sporting world, all eyes are still on the mediation efforts between Olympic pole vaulter EJ Obiena and his sports association, PATAFA. Gretchen Ho sat down with sports law expert Mickey Ingles to give us insights on the whole situation. Let's listen in.
Do you feel that all options have already been exhausted when it comes to actually being able to fix the situation?
No, I don't think all options have been exhausted because I think there was an option open before, the option of mediation. Sadly, it wasn't taken for whatever reason. So that would have been something that would have helped this move more smoothly.
Okay, let's have a definition of terms. Okay, when you say ESTAFA, what does that mean?
So ESTAFA is a means of defrauding someone out of their money.
Okay, what if EJ was just merely late in his payments, but he already put in the papers that he was able to pay Vitaly Petrov for this month and so on and so forth. Pero sa totoo lang, na late talaga. Would that be considered as estafa?
Well, that's what PATAFA will have a hard time proving, right? So kung sabihin naman ni EJ, no one was damaged because nabayaran naman sa dulo in the end. But of course, PATAFA will say, no, the issue for falsifying and forging documents, diba? Which is a crime on its own.
Okay, I think the question on everybody's minds right now is, can EJ still represent the Philippines if he is adopted by the POC but not endorsed by PATAFA?
Okay, so that's the difficult part right now because kung wala siyang recommendation from PATAFA, hindi mabibigay ng IOC yung pangalan niya, hindi mabibigay ng POC, ng Philippine Olympic Committee, yung pangalan niya sa IOC as a list, as a member of the athletes who are gonna compete. I'm not sure if the POC has any other ideas on how to have EJ still represent the flag without the necessary National Federation endorsement.
If things don't get resolved with the NSA,
an option for him to still compete is just to compete for another country, right? I mean, that's the saddest outcome that we can get as a country. But if you want EJ to still compete as a Filipino, one option is to have another national federation for athletics, right? Who will be recognized by the World Athletics Organization and by the POC, right? Para sila na lang yung mag-endorse kay EJ. But that's easier said than done.
Seeing the whole situation, what do you think is the way forward?
Let's go back to square one and talk things over, right? Because in the end, we both want the same thing, and that's glory for the Philippines in world athletics. And the glory of EJ will be the glory of PATAFA.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.